Hello, lovely people. Hello, everyone. My name is Kate, and I am a hypnotherapist. And today, I would love to talk about one of the state of the mind that is called, well, maybe it's an issue, maybe it's a disorder, maybe it's a mental illness. You know, there are so many debates about that. But perfectionism is absolutely a good thing and a bad thing. And let's differentiate when it's good and when it's bad, and why people cannot let go of perfectionism. Why people are struggling while they are perfectionists. What good things it can bring and what bad consequences it brings into their lives, right? Why they form this strategy and what is on their subconscious mind. Because every topic that I cover is always about psychological reason, and perfectionism is completely psychological. There is a physical symptom, but definitely there is no physical reason, you know? So it's all psychological, it's all in our mind, but it causes real pain. So first of all, let's differentiate between healthy perfectionism and unhealthy perfectionism, right? Because healthy perfectionism is good. You know, because a person can plan, can analyze, can make projects, you know, they can create great things in life and in this world, you know, because they are very responsible, they are very focused and concentrated on the details. They make sure that everything is great. And, you know, in some jobs, in some careers, this is very important. And what healthy perfectionist feels like, he or she will be, the person will be very happy and enjoying the process. So if they have some project, if they are working towards the goal, they will be enjoying the process, right? They will be looking forward to reach the goal, but at the same time remembering the present and the actions they are taking every day, right? And this is very important because life is happening in the moment. Life never happens in the future or in the past, while in the unhealthy perfectionism, life is happening in the future, right? Usually perfectionist usually thinks about the failures from the past, so they don't repeat them, and they are thinking about the future goals and how they reach them, and they feel like if they reach them, that's when they feel enough, right? They feel that it's going to be perfect. However, it's not the case, because usually a perfectionist, that he will reach the goal and he will disregard the goal as not being perfect. He will find the faults. He will, not in every case, but in many cases. In most of the cases, perfectionists, when they reach the goal, they're, oh, yeah, it's good, but I could have done it better. This and this could be done better. If you see those symptoms in yourself, maybe you are a perfectionist and an achiever, right? So usually, they want everything perfect. So this is like the belief system. Perfectionism is a belief system that there is a perfect end result, the perfect vision of the goal, right? There is a perfect image of kids. There is a perfect standard of a husband or a wife. There is a perfect standard of the project that they are taking on, right? So they always have this perfect vision, you know? And it's only by their own perception, how they see it, right? So how is the process looks like? If you are a perfectionist and you feel like it's not serving you, my dog just took my winter shoe to chew. She's young, she's just a puppy. So anyway, let's go on. So usually what a perfectionist does, he, and I took the notes, so I don't forget to tell you everything. So usually he or she, a person, right, a perfectionist, or a child even, right? They are moving always. They're always moving towards the goal. Goal after goal, achievement, accomplishment. So they are setting a lot of expectations of themselves. Why? Because they are afraid to stop. They feel like if I stop, then it means that I failed. It means that I failed, right? So also unhealthy perfectionism can look like the person doesn't enjoy the process. So they're just doing like mechanically, step after step, step after step, because they're not in the moment. They are in the future, thinking about the past and all the mistakes that they made, right? So this is really important. Usually any process, any project, raising their kids, marriage, relationship, it's like a run, like a marathon to the standard that they see in front of them, right? So completely unnecessary, right? And I'll tell you why, and why perfectionism is not you. It's just a strategy that you took on, and you absolutely, the real you doesn't want it. It's just the real you is so deep in your unconscious mind. Like it's so buried behind all of these standards, beliefs, limiting beliefs, right? Trauma, sometimes neglect, right, from the past. So usually, if they reach the goal, the perfectionist usually disregards the goal. They already they decrease the value. They rarely praise themselves or celebrate themselves. They don't even take the time to celebrate their wins, even if it's a small win. They usually disregard it. It's just supposed to be like that. So that's a big issue, right? And usually it's not like every perfectionist has this belief: I am not good enough. And even if I'm good enough in this industry or in this field of my life, right? Like industry or in the relationship, in the parenthood, or in the physical activity, in health, they might feel like they're good enough, but they might not feel good enough in other things. So there is always this I'm not good enough. The big limiting belief, right? That is the core of so many issues. And you're not born with that. You are born with the feeling I'm enough. And you can even look at your kids, you can even look at babies, right? And how they feel like they're enough. They know they're crying until you pick them up, or the parents pick them up. They will cry uncontrollably because they believe that they are worthy of attention. They are worthy, and they know they're going to get it no matter what. So they feel like they are enough. They're lovable enough to be cared for, to be loved, to be celebrated, right? But something happens during the childhood that we stop believing in that, right? And we form another belief. So there is this crack, right? That happens. And it's really, my therapist told me, my RTT therapist, because I also have my own issues that I'm working on, and he told me about this. You feel the crack. When you feel the crack, right, all the other negative beliefs are sinking in much easier when you have this first limiting beliefs that you form. So the latest research that I have found, and it's like ridiculous, the latest research that I found, that it can be a genetics. Like the excuse that, it could be, perfectionism could be in genetics. I was like, what? Because it's the easiest excuse to put off the responsibility. So, and I'll tell you why, and this might not be the point of view that you're gonna like, but that's okay. It's my point of view, and I think it's very legit, is because it is so easy to manipulate people when you put it all on genetics. Every doctor can tell you, well, it's genetics, just take the drugs, drug yourself in the medication, and you're like, and you're just gonna live with it for your whole life. It's so much easier for them to take off their responsibility as well, because genetics is like something that you cannot control. So I think that it's a very false thing to believe that it's all in genetics and that you have no control over your mental struggles. You do have a control over them. You just need to understand that, and to close that knowledge gap, and to educate yourself on how the mind works. So what are the symptoms of perfectionism? The first one is anxiety. Lots of perfectionists feel this beating heart, this tightness in their chest, headaches, tightness in their throat, foggy brain, when they are in stress. They're almost all the time in stress because they are not in the moment. And anxiety lives in the past or in the future, never lives in the present. So anxiety is big, high competitiveness. So they are like, they like to compete with people because they want to be the best. They want recognition, they want acceptance, they want praise, because that's something that they couldn't get when they were children, right? Resentment, envy, being jealous, right? So perfectionists usually, in many cases, they are very envious of others' achievements, right? And they sometimes don't like that feeling, they want to get rid of that feeling, but they don't know how. Frustration, right? Frustration. So you feel this perfectionist feels that constant frustration and like dissatisfaction with what they do, or even if they do, it's very temporarily, So that's why you can find people, usually perfectionists can even lead to a very big eating disorders problems, right? Anorexia, bulimia, right? When you don't have that end goal, and whenever you have the goal, I'm going to be skinny, I want to be perfect, I want to look like that, like that. So you sometimes reach that goal and you're like, oh, that's not good enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not small enough. Like I have to be better. And this is serious, because eating disorder, if you are a perfectionist and you have an eating disorder, please seek help and support, because you can get help, and this is something that can be resolved, supported. Like, you can absolutely find help. So for the perfectionist, there is no definite notion of perfectness. They feel like they know what's the perfect end result, but in reality they don't, right? So this confusion in the mind. They can criticize a lot. Perfectionists will always criticize people around them because they criticize themselves a lot. What are the roots and the causes of perfectionists, right? First is the limiting belief, I am not good enough. They form it in early childhood, even if perfectionism started to show up in early 20s or in early 30s, right? Doesn't matter. If you take two 20-year-old people, one who was emotionally, loved, who was praised and celebrated, if that person will be criticized, he will not think he's not good enough. He will just disregard the criticism. If another person who was criticized, who was emotionally neglected, maybe abused, maybe criticized, punished a lot for his or her mistakes, right? If he criticized at the age of 20, he will absolutely confirm that belief. That's true. I'm not good enough. I'm stupid. Something is wrong with me. So it's, even if the perfectionism is showing up in your later age, you still form that belief in early childhood, right? Early criticism from parents, from teachers, from siblings, and from peers can lead to this strategy. I have to be better. I have to be perfect. Punishment in childhood as well, huge reason why we become perfectionists. If you're punished for the mistakes, of course you will form the belief that you can form different beliefs. You can form the belief that, oh, I'm not even trying, I'm just going to be like not doing anything. Or you can form the belief that no, I have to be better so that I'm loved when I'm the best, right? So if you notice that in your childhood, work on that. It's possible to reframe those beliefs, to transform those beliefs. From that, you can have low self-confidence, right? Low self-confidence as well can lead to perfectionism, right? Because I have to be better. Fear of failure, fear of mistakes. Because you feel like you're a failure, though you might not even, it's all unconscious. Sometimes you don't realize why it is. People are like, oh, I'm a perfectionist, but I don't know why. I just am. Like, find out why. This is your best strategy that you can do. You know that you took on the role of the perfect child. And I've learned that from my school, from Marisa Peer, right? She's the founder of the RTT Hypnotherapy School. And she was telling us about these roles that we play in our life. And it's not the roles that we were born with, not at all. We were born authentic, unique, lovable, abundant, like everything is available to us. But at some point, our life environment brings us to become perfectionists because I have to be perfect in order to be loved. We all want to fit in, to belong to the community. And in some cases, we form this belief that we have to be better, to be the best, to be perfect, to be immaculate, to be, to compete for the first place, because we feel like in that case, we will fit in. Otherwise, we won't. So because your subconscious mind doesn't know the time, it will replay that fear of failure, fear of not fitting in, not being loved all your life without you even realizing that. So this was very important. What can you do in order to start overcoming the perfectionist? First of all, and this is the only way you can do that, one of the only ways, is to find out where did you form that belief. Where was that moment, that that crack or that belief that you started to form, I'm not good enough, I had to be perfect. So if you find that one, you can work around it. You can integrate them from your childhood into your present life. So you're like, oh yes. So your subconscious mind will understand that that's in the past. You logically can absolutely influence your subconscious mind as well. So finding out what role you play in your life, right? Whether you were a savior, or maybe you were, a victim, maybe you were a sick child, like all of those roles, perfect child, right? What role did you play or you still playing in your life? So the one thing as well is understanding, and it can be during the guided meditations, some of the deep healing methods, like hypnosis, right? You can find out that, the universe doesn't have perfect. It doesn't allow perfect. Look at everything around you. There is nothing that is perfect. And once you understand that with your emotional brain, this is when you start to let go. You start to slow down. And at the same time, you gain so much more happiness and joy and, fulfillment in your life. So very important. Work on that and you will find your way, because if you are a perfectionist and if it's in the way of you enjoying your life, then why not just, drop that belief? So be healthy mentally and physically. And if you need my help, my contact information is in the description. I do online and in-person sessions, of hypnotherapy, RTT method, and I can help you understand why you are the way you are. Bye.